Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. It is your quirky makeup artist friend Cat Sketch here today. And no, I'm not naked. I'm going to do an extreme body painting. That's why I have like little antennas. Can you see them? I don't know. But we are going to be doing a makeup that I've been dreaming about for 2 years, continuing with our Alice in Wonderland 2.0 series today, because we are going to turn into the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland. I really like the caterpillar in Wonderland from the Tim Burton's version of Alice in Wonderland, even more so than the original cartoon animated version from Disney's production of it. So I really want to make him have that old man face like he has in that movie, and I kind of want to add wings to him, do something a little bit spicy and different. So we will just see. So let's get started with the makeup, and I'm going to be talking about, of course, creepy messed up stories that we grew up hearing as a child but didn't realize where they originated from, where their history and backstory is actually from. And this one's probably the creepiest, and I'm going to do some warnings, trigger warnings. We are going to be talking about sexual abuse very heavily, and just because it is something, a story that everybody knows, but that's what it is tied with history. So it's going to get dark, it's going to get creepy, so let's get started. Alright, so I'm going to surprise myself a little bit, and we're going to leave my brows in this because he has some brows, but they're sparse, but he has so much texture in his face. I feel like leaving the brows would be a smart idea so I could paint on them and have that texture of my actual hairs with the paint color, and I'm thinking it might work. Today we're going to be talking about Sleeping Beauty. And warning, Sleeping Beauty is about being taken advantage of by men. Even more so than the original fairy tale we grew up with. Alright, so first we're going to build the muzzle part of the caterpillar with some, these are makeup sponges that I cut to do the little fang things he has, or these little things he has here. But scarily enough, the original Sleeping Beauty was about a father that chopped off his daughter's hands. Yeah, you heard that right. Why are all these so dark with the fathers? Didn't we just do one about a messed up father? Well, this father, yeah, chopped off his daughter's hand just to make a deal with the devil. This is in the original Grimm's fairy tale version of Sleeping Beauty. Crazy, I know. Now, the real story apparently behind Sleeping Beauty is in a league all on its own. Apparently, the hero is a king who finds the Sleeping Beauty, has his way with her, I don't want to say the hard R word because it could be triggering for some people, and impregnates her while she's asleep. Like, what? What? I don't understand. Why are people so evil? I don't get it. I look like a walrus made out of clouds right now. This darker version of the 1959 Sleeping Beauty, Disney's classic, is miles different and away from it, as you could tell. It was in a 1634 story called Sun, Moon, and Talia, was where it originated from. And the Wicked Queen in this story was actually the hero's wife, and in this story you'll probably actually want to root for her compared to the original. You know, Sleeping Beauty's so different, you didn't want to root for her. And Disney wasn't the first to be disturbed by the original story of Sleeping Beauty and how graphic, violent, and bad it was. In the 16th century Mother Goose fairy tales, they actually took out the sexual assault, including when Sleeping Beauty stripped naked in front of her assaulter's wife. And warning, once you look at this original version or hear about it of Sleeping Beauty, you won't be looking at the Disney's version of Sleeping Beauty the same, I hear. So let's get started. Everybody knows the original Sleeping Beauty story as a princess that is cursed with sleep, and she could only be awakened by a prince's or a guy's one true love's kiss. Man, imagine falling in love with someone when they can't even speak or wake up. What? And I thought dating during quarantine would probably be hard for some people. This one's more extreme. Additional to this story, there's also spindles, there's fairies, there's an evil witch in the mix of the original Sleeping Beauty story. The original Sleeping Beauty was published by an Italian author in 1634 called The Tale of Tales, and it included 50 different stories, such as Rapunzel, Cinderella, Snow White, and of course Sleeping Beauty. Again, Sleeping Beauty was called The Sun, Moon, and Talia. This book was used by Charles Perrault in the late 17th century who wrote Mother Goose Tales, and by the Brothers Grimm in the 19th century. But this version, like we said, is much, much darker about Sleeping Beauty. In Disney's version of Sleeping Beauty, Aurora and Prince Philip meet in the woods where they sing Once Upon a Dream, and Aurora instantly falls in love and is swept off her feet. But in this version of Sleeping Beauty that we're talking about today, that's older, she is taken advantage of sexually in her sleep. So the two main characters in this version don't actually meet until she's actually asleep. Crazy. No first date, no hi, how are you, none of that. Painting these jowls, I feel like I'm painting a blue French bulldog that has like spikes coming out of its mouth, which is fine by me. It's just a lot of work. In this version of Sleeping Beauty, the prince, or the king, finds an abandoned place, gets a ladder, sneaks into the said abandoned place, then searches through every single room in this abandoned house. What? Criminal, suspicious? Am I listening to one of my favorite murder stories, murder podcasts, like My Favorite Murder? Or is this an actual story that they turn into a children's storybook? What? In one of the rooms is where the king finds Talia, deep asleep in bed. It's gonna get sad and scary and dark because it's about to get a disturbing turn. Crying aloud, the king beheld her charms and felt his blood coursing through his veins. God, I already hate it. He lifted her into his arms and carried her to a bed where he gathered their fruits of love. I hate it. Just hate it. In no way am I promoting this and being right. It's disgusting, wrong, even in the 1600s, even as I'm telling this as a blue avatar war seal. Apparently he had his way with her without her consent, and apparently like just sleeping with women, whomever he wanted, was a huge turn on for the king. But it's someone else's body and you need consent even in the 1600s. This is such a hard makeup to do. Again, these are kind of like my own versions of these characters. As if the king having sexual relations with a stranger without her consent while she's asleep isn't disturbing enough. After he has sex with Sleeping Beauty, the king goes home and for a time thinks nothing more of this incident that occurred. Using my Vivids palette from Colourdraine, the blues I hope will look great in this. Apparently the king didn't think it odd that he went and found a sleeping princess in an abandoned castle. And clearly he had no reservations about ditching her after he had his way with her. He's just criminal, disgusting human, all around trash. I am just contouring. So much contouring, guys. Oh my gosh. There's like so many forehead wrinkles, so many wrinkles on this little guy. But the more detail you put in stuff, especially like this, with older aged makeups, because I feel like the caterpillar would be older, the better it'll come out, hopefully. Apparently while the king was gathering his fruits of his love, he left some evidence behind. Da-da-da-da, Inspector Gadget. Mystery solved. Of course, an idiot like this. Is there a trial during this? 9 months later, Sleeping Beauty gives birth to not only one, but two children, a boy and a girl. After said stupid king, ridiculous, terrible king, we're painting on a monocle, of course. The author brushes past how it's even possible to sleep through a twin birth labor while you're asleep. You know, how do you get through that? But the beautiful thing is that once these babies are born, two fairies appear to help take care of the babies. At this point, the story's way too dark for Disney. And at this point, it takes a really strange turn, I hear, after the fairies try to help the newborn babies breastfeed. What? Sleeping Beauty actually wakes up as the fairies are trying to attempt to place the two babies that she gave birth to on Sleeping Beauty's chest for the babies to successfully breastfeed. So the babies can nurse, and they accidentally place the babies on her fingers. Wow, these fairies really don't know. But the baby sucked so hard that the splinter of flax came out of Sleeping Beauty's finger, which is what pricked her to make her fall asleep in the first place. That's how she woke up. And once that flax came out, Sleeping Beauty awoke from a long sleep. And once Sleeping Beauty wakes up with the newborns by her side, she doesn't have the typical response, which would be like screaming, what time is it? Why are there newborns by my side? I feel like I just given birth. Like, what is going on. Instead, she just picks up the baby, acts like nothing happened, just starts breastfeeding them. Is it mother's instinct? I don't know. They don't mention how long she's been asleep when she wakes up, but it may have been a year. Of course, because pregnancy, the babies are born. You know, she's discovered by this disgusting king. But the readers have to wonder if the flax poisoning that she endured, if it affected her, like, faculties and, like, her abilities and what she went through. Because she's not like a regular human. When she wakes up, she just doesn't freak out. She just goes upon her day like nothing's happened. It's really weird. And it gets worse when the king comes back to claim his children because, you know, heirs to the throne. People just care about money, even back then, and who they're gonna sleep with, and power, and some people never change. Obviously, the king hasn't thought much about Sleeping Beauty, but once he finds out somehow that she has 2 children that are probably his, he tries to reunite with her, hoping for a second date. Disgusting. What? Imagine if this is your life. What? He returns to the palace and is surprised to find her awake, but it's like, I don't even know how she gave birth asleep. Is that possible? I feel like that's something on a crazy TV show I would see. Lifetime movie. The original tale says that he was overjoyed when he saw her awake with the twins, and he told Talia who he was, which had to been awkward and disgusting and weird. And he told her, like, how he'd seen what had happened and told her what taken place. Like, what was that from his point of view, since he's disgusting. And again, that sleep must have affected Aurora, Talia, Sleeping Beauty. It's like he was taking her children away and she was not affected, not asking questions, not stabbing him when he was telling her the story on how she probably slept with someone to get pregnant and have these babies while she was asleep. What? She didn't demand child support. Just when she heard this story, her response was that she just felt like they had a tighter bond. What? Get this, the two, Talia and the king, go on to have a romantic relationship after this. What in the world? And he fails to mention to her that he is married already. Why am I not surprised? This guy's complete trash. In the original Sleeping Beauty, Maleficent, she's known as Mistress of All Evil. She's the one who cursed baby Aurora in the first place and just started everything that was wrong. With the spindle and the thread and her pricking her finger, falling asleep, all that. And it's because of Maleficent that Aurora is raised in the woods by the fairies in the original story. In the 1697, before the story we're talking about right now, that version, Maleficent is known as an ogress mixed with a fairy as a villain. But in this Sun, Moon, and Talia story, it's the king's wife, a woman married to this guy who's just disgusting. Maleficent might be vicious in the original Disney story, but in this version, once she finds out she has a cheating husband, she turns on him. Yay. She turns vicious once she found out that he was cheating on her with sleeping women that he found in abandoned houses and castles. She threatens a secretary to reveal the king's mistress as a secret, warning him, "If you hide the truth from me, you'll never be found dead or alive." I already like her. I just really do. I hope she finds pity on this woman that was like taken advantage of while she was asleep to get impregnated. Impregnated and have her husband's babies, just a little bit, but maybe she doesn't know the whole story of that either. He spills the secret and the queen somehow tricks Sleeping Beauty into sending her the children, the 2 kids. What the heck, it turns dark. Okay, maybe she isn't good because the queen orders the cook to slaughter the children, to cook them up. Puts them in several dishes for her husband. What? No, she's not good. What? Who said that? Who said that in this article? This is bad. Taking revenge by slaughtering children is not good. But the gentle-hearted cook couldn't possibly kill the adorable twins. Thank goodness. So the cook hides the children and cooks up lambs in the children's place for the feast. So the queen sits down at this feast and watches her king, her husband, eat said children, but they're really lambs, so don't worry. And she says, "Eat, eat, eat, you're eating one of your own." I guess my neck fat folds in this video that everyone makes fun of throughout my career helps. The queen is satisfied simply thinking that she's feeding these children to her husband. So the queen kidnaps Sleeping Beauty, calls out Sleeping Beauty, but Sleeping Beauty is obviously unaware of what's really happening because, again, she was asleep. She was taken advantage of in her sleep, oblivious to it all. The queen's like, "You're a fine piece of goods. You ill weed while you are enjoying my husband." She goes on to call Sleeping Beauty a lump of filth. The queen actually plans to toss Sleeping Beauty into a bonfire. But Sleeping Beauty tries to defend herself by saying it wasn't really her fault. She didn't know anything. Like, she was asleep. She was taken advantage of, you know? Because the king, her husband, has taken advantage of her possession and territory in climbing through the windows of the abandoned castle that she resided in. So the queen wants to set a bonfire for Sleeping Beauty to kill her, but you know, Sleeping Beauty's smarter. She figures out what's happening once she sees that bonfire. She asked the queen if she could take off her clothes before she's thrown into the bonfire, because her clothes are covered in gold and pearls. Again, she was a princess. Even though her castle was abandoned, she was still a princess. Even though she was asleep, you know, she has her rights too. And so the queen agrees that she could take her clothes off, so every time she takes off her robe, her skirt, every article of clothing, she starts screaming loudly, and the king bursts into the room as he finds his wife about to throw his mistress into the bonfire. The queen tells the king finally and tells him the secret that he ate his own children, that the children are dead. And the king says, "What, you renegade, what evil deed is this?" He orders his men to throw the evil queen into the fire instead. After she's thrown into the fire, the king realizes that his children are still alive because that cook saved their lives. The king and Sleeping Beauty are reunited with their unharmed children. The king marries Sleeping Beauty and forgets about his first dead wife. Why would you want to marry him? I would just find another prince somewhere. And they live happily ever after. What? And the moral of this story is that sometimes bad things like being taken advantage of and stuff in your life has a happy ending. What? Yes, I want to put wings on here. And to finish off the look, I want to put in some contact lenses. Gotta do that. I just feel like you would have blue lenses. Why not? The blue caterpillar having blue eyes. Just a nice extra touch. These are from pinkyparadise.com. And with that, we're completely done with this makeup transformation, turning into the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland for the last character in my Alice in Wonderland 2.0 series. I hope you enjoyed this video and listening to the creepy dark tale behind the real story behind Sleeping Beauty. I know it was graphic and scary and cannibalistic and weird, super dark, but it's so interesting to me to hear the true history and stories behind how these fairy tales that we grew up listening to were made. Gotta put a pipe in its mouth. I think the wings were a nice touch to make him more whimsical and cute. He's a cute little old man, the caterpillar. Like I said, I've been thinking about this makeup for 2 years. I'm so glad I did it. It took so long. I think this video took me 4 hours. Definitely took me 4 hours. Leave a comment down below on what makeup you would love to see on this channel next, since this series is over with. Subscribe to this channel. I do 2 videos a week, every Monday and Friday. Not only these videos, but beauty makeups as well. Can't wait to do more videos for you guys. I hope you enjoyed. All the products I used in this video will be listed down below in the description box as always. Thank you guys so much for supporting this channel and this series. I love you creators, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. That's weird to see.